What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to the Monday Market Update. My name is Sean Grapevine. I'm the Vice President of Strategy here at UMortgage, and we've got some exciting things to talk with you about today about what happened last week, what's going to happen this week, and how we can all survive and thrive in today's real estate market, both as loan officers, as real estate agents. Thank you for joining us, local agents that have joined us, and as clients as well. All of this helpful for everybody. I'm joined today by the one and only Matt Gougé, who appears to be having some level of technical difficulty. So I will try and hoist the weight of the show upon mine own shoulders, and maybe I can muck through what we're going to be chatting about while Matt sorts his life out. But don't worry, I'm equally as talented, charming, funny as Matt. So you're not missing out on it. We're basically twins, so you're not missing out on too much. Just kidding. He's really the star of the show, but I'll try and do my best in his stead. First thing we'll talk about on the Monday Market Update is an update to the market. As you may have seen last week, there was one big number that came out that kind of threw a wrench in everybody's tentative hope about future rate lowerings, future, the rate hikes that we have in place working. Every week there's a new little indicator about whether or not the Fed is going to believe that the rate hikes that they put into place over the past 2+ years, whether those have worked, whether they have sort of constrained the economy enough to prevent inflation and to sort of cool down some of the outrageous verve we have for retail sales and buying cars and going out to eat. One of the main drivers behind all of those things in your life and in my life, unless you're independently wealthy or maybe of retirement age, is your job, right? If you have a job, then you make money, and with the money that you make, you spend that money. And so one of the things that the Fed looks at is the jobs numbers. How many jobs are created in any given month? And they certainly don't want more people to be unemployed. But they don't want a red hot jobs economy. Now, you may have some level of doubt or concern or argument with whether or not the current jobs economy, the jobs market, is as hot as the Fed says it is. But under their metrics, more and more jobs keep getting produced. Again, this may not reflect your experience or the experience of your peers. That is a subject for another time. But the numbers that they do use do show an increase in jobs. So last week, there was an expectation that 190,000 jobs would have been created in May. This being June, the May jobs report comes out, and that the unemployment rate would be somewhere in the range of 4.1%. Instead, what we saw was 200. Let me check my dang notes here. 272,000 jobs were created. So almost an increase of like 50% of the expected number of jobs were created, and that, like, we had these slow declines in interest rates over the previous few weeks. That put an end to that, and we saw an increase in rates at the very end of the week, and you can see it there, and it'll be reflected even further today as rates opened slightly higher. I will say, though, there's been a lot of good news, as you can see evidenced here, as rates have sort of declined over the last few weeks. You have conventional rates here up top, and then FHA there at the bottom, and you can see that that on Friday, that news sent numbers up. Now, I mean, there was other jobs numbers last week. So there's a job openings measure, and that came in lower. So there are fewer job openings. So the Fed was like, that's good. Or traders assumed that the Fed thought to themselves that that was good. And then we also had ADP, the largest payroll provider in the country. They released sort of middling jobs numbers. And then the Bureau of Labor Statistics was like, actually, JK, a lot of jobs. So go get your jobs, ladies and gents, is essentially what the Bureau of Labor Statistics said. And you see this pop up in rates. And again, kind of seeing a little bit more of that this morning. But that being said, it's not the only piece of news that that the markets follow. And overall, and I'll go ahead and make Matt's point for him right now, is that like people adapt. People get used to a certain level, right? So if you're a loan officer or real estate agent, like 6.95, right, just doesn't seem as high as 6.95 did a year ago. So a year ago, rates were probably in the, I don't know, maybe mid sixes. And if you would have said like rates are going to go up to the low sevens, 6.95, you would just be like, but now coming down off of some of these crazy highs only a few weeks ago, you see that, I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. You see that like people actually kind of coming into these numbers, and like they're just not that high overall in the historical sense. If you take out 2020, 2021, this is not like that, which wasn't real life. This is not that bad. And I think what a lot of people who are dealing with clients on a regular basis, or whether you're a loan officer or real estate agent, or maybe you're a client yourself, right? This is there's no reason to wait for rates to drop. I guarantee you this: rates someday, somehow will drop. But if in 1971, when rates were at 7.7%, you had decided, hey, I'm going to wait for rates to drop, I'm going to give everybody a second to guess that reduction in rates would happen. You can feel free to put it in the comments. Check the comments here. All right. What is your guess? 1971, rates at 7.7%. How long would it take for rates to drop? Well, rates wouldn't be lower than that number until July of 1993. And then they would still stay around that number for a very long time. So no reason to wait. Rates could go up. They could stay the same. They could go down. Real estate will forever be a fantastic investment. And you can just sort of, we'll page through these relatively quickly. You can sort of see the change in probabilities of what traders think will happen at the next Fed meeting. So the next Fed meeting is this Wednesday. So two big things: CPI, the core measure of inflation, or the big measure of inflation, and the Fed meeting both happen on Wednesday. 8:30 inflation comes out, 2:30 the results of the Fed meeting. Now, you don't have to worry. Rates aren't going down as a result of the Fed meeting, or at least they're not going to be lowering the benchmark rate. What we all look at is really what they say afterwards. We always know what they're going to do, more or less, but what they say afterwards is the most important part. So is Jerome Powell going to say, hey, we've been seeing some really encouraging signs, we do expect to decrease in the future? They're going to say, hey, inflation is really sticky, we don't really see one anytime in the near future? Or are they going to start paving the way for a potential increase in rates again? That would be scary. Traders would not like that. Rates would go up. So it should be really interesting. You should watch. You should definitely read the results on Wednesday after they come out. Log on, the Wall Street Journal or New York Times or your news source of choice, and really try and understand like what they're saying, what's going to happen. And I love to be able to talk to clients about this kind of thing, because we're the closest source of financial information to them. of anybody in their lives unless they have a financial planner, which they just probably don't. So making sure that we are good stewards of that information, that we're not sensationalizing it or politicizing it, but trying to report as accurately as possible and tell them what that means for them, and to give good context around that so that they feel safe and secure in the investment they're going to make. Huge deal. So if you look 1 month further, you've got here on the July one, still traders think 91% chance of no change in the rates here. And then the next month, or really not the next month, the next meeting in September, they skipped the August one. 50% chance of no change, 50% chance of easing. So maybe a rate reduction by September. I doubt it personally. And then if you zoom all the way till a year from now, you do see a pretty high chance of, 99% chance of easing, with things coming into, this is one reduction, 2 reductions, 3 reductions. So maybe 3 reductions, maybe up to 4. Some people think up to 5, but somewhere in the 2 to 4 reductions range. So not this huge rate reduction that we thought we were going to see, but really just a steady reduction. Now that's just what traders think right now. They're wrong all the time. You should see how much these change every day, every week. They're wildly, vastly different. So I think the real lesson is nobody knows. So I think that's enough of the numbers for today. It looks like Matt is still having some tech issues. So if you guys want to help me have a co-host in you can put some questions in, and the team will throw those up on the screen for me, and I will answer them the best I can. One of the things Matt and I were going to talk to you about today, but that I know plenty about, luckily, is to really help navigate this market where there's a little bit less demand. Inventory can be a hard to navigate, hard chart to navigate. And we as professionals need to stay as able to navigate those waters as best as possible to help our clients, to give them as many options as possible. Used to be, I ran my entire business 92% conventional loans from 2015 to 2019, 2020. I had to stop that because, like I said, the shape of buyers changed, the shape of inventories changed, and it was easy and fun and really simple. But that's just not the market we live in anymore. Conventional rates are through the roof, and people have the economy is totally different. The jobs economy is totally different. So many more self-employed, so many more 1099 people. So there's just this need to be able to, as a result of some of these weird market mechanisms, to be able to be an expert in more than just oh, you want to buy a house with 5%, 10%, 20% down, you've got great credit. Nobody's going to turn that kind of business away. But as professionals, it's really important that we sort of add to the arrows in our quiver, so that we are ready to provide options to our clients. So, what I want to talk about is niche products or niche products. I think it's technically, you're supposed to say niche. I tried to get into niche for a little while, but I think niche just sounds better, right? It's just it's in a niche. So I'm going to go with niche. And if I sound dumb, sorry. Obviously, UMortgage, not a sales pitch for a niche, but if you got an itch, anyway, this is the place to be. We have 20, 25 lenders, and probably 100 plus different unique loan programs. Obviously, we have conventional, FHA, USDA, VA, right? For veterans, if you're a veteran, you need to be using the VA loan, using your entitlement. It's an incredible product. But there's a lot of other things too, right? There's DSCR loans. DSCR loans, they don't qualify the borrower, they qualify the property, right? If you want to buy an investment property, as long as the rents come back higher than the monthly costs, you can get that loan. I mean, you have to put some money down, usually 15, 20, 25%, but definitely worth talking to your loan officer if you want to start working, in the investment category, if you want to start working in your local market to really capitalize on investing in real estate. There's other great niches, right? Like bank statement loans. So speaking of people who have, oh my God.
I'm on my phone. I don't know if audio is terrible. I'm using my iPods, but
it sounds pretty good.
Something's going on with the computer, and I won't bore everybody with the details, but I'm here. I've been listening intently. You've been crushing it, brother. I'd love to talk niche products, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. I still don't know what the problem is, but alas,
That's
here
okay.
we are.
You know what? You're using a niche product, a niche like method of connectivity. So I just think
Right.
it's good. It's kind of apropos.
Well, you
I
know
and
what?
I'm
This could lead into something great, Sean. Like in 2024, you can use your phone for just about anything. As mortgage brokers, we get on there and search these niche products, and we can log into Arrive, we can upload docs, we can do everything from our phone. So when the old school computer technology fails us, like it did today for me, where I just couldn't figure it out, trusty old iPhone comes to the rescue. I'm able to log in here, but yeah, I don't know where you were exactly, but I'd love to talk about a few niche products 2024 that I think are becoming more and more important.
Well, I think before we even talk about which niche products, it's more like how do you use them in your sort of like in your sales process, right? Like how do you find people that need them? Or is it like you come across people and then you try to determine if they need a niche product to sort of like create an opportunity from what you thought wasn't an opportunity? Or do you actively go out, because this is like a question for like real estate agents, they blow my mind. I to me, most of my relationships are with with real estate agents. So to me, it's kind of a B2B. I get most of my business from referrals from agents. So to me, that's relatively simple. For a real estate agent, I'm always like, man, how do you find these people? Like, what do you really do? You just hang out outside of apartment buildings, hand out your card, like, So when you're talking about like niche products, do you lead with that? Are you like, hey, let's open up a new sector of the market, or are they kind of more of a band aid or a just in case?
Well, I think like this is something that's going to be valuable for loan officers, real estate agents, and I'm not saying valuable based on guesses. Like we literally have the data. We've got level up coaching students going through this as we speak. Even though you might be a loan officer that can do conventional FHA, VA, DSCR, bank statement, there is power in building like your brand around. I work with first time home buyers. I work with investors. I'm a VA guru, whatever it is, right? And so I
Mhm.
think that like my call to action for everyone listening, loan officer, real estate agent, and this probably applies to other industries as well. Like find what your main avatar is, your client that you work with the most, that you feel like you have the most skills around, and lead with that. Know that even if I tell people, listen, I love educating clients. With first time home buyers, you send them to me. I'm going to have videos that walk them through how escrow accounts work. I'm going to talk with them and I'm going to send looms and I'm going to send Excel spreadsheets and like
I wish you had been my loan officer for the first time I bought a house.
so much
You'd be
fun,
so
dude.
you've got such good bedside manner.
Well, I
I'm
think
just realizing that I was my loan officer for my first house purchase, so I, either one would have worked.
if we wanted to derail real quick, we could talk about my first experience when I bought a house in 2006. Um,
Whoa, that's
what
so
I will
long ago.
what I will
What
tell
that was
you
like
though,
back in
Sean.
your early 40s.
You're funny. He got jokes. He got jokes. Um, 26 years old in 2006. But part of the reason I got into mortgage is because I felt everything that home buyers feel in that first home buying experience where I was confused, I was lost, I didn't understand it. And this is coming from a guy, Sean. I have a degree in finance. I went to school to study finance, international business, and so being a couple years removed from a college degree, it was confusing to me. It was scary to me. So when I tell people like I'm passionate about educating buyers and making what for some is complicated very, very easy, I think that's where it all stems from, honestly, is from that first experience where I go, like, if I don't understand this, and I got a finance degree, like, what are other people who are buying homes gonna, think? And I have this
See, and
conversation a
this is
lot.
like I love this. I think what you're illustrating is like if that's your niche, like obviously look at you, you're getting so passionate about it, right? And like, I think that's one of the things, like, you don't just find one that's like, I can really exploit the market here, like DSCR loans would be perfect or whatever. It's like, we have a lot of people that work with foreign nationals and I-10, like the I-10 loans and like DACA loans and stuff like that. And it's usually like people that have seen the benefit of that either in their own lives or in their families' lives or in their communities' lives, where it's like, man, providing home ownership to, like permanent residents or immigrants, like, is like so satisfying and fulfilling, and really changed my life, so I want to use it to change others. And like the way you're talking about first time home buyers, I think a lot of people miss that, like, when you're choosing a niche, like, it needs to be a result of something that, like, you actually care about and that you're passionate about.
1000%. And I want to like continue to say this because people might not have heard it the first time. Just because you have a niche, and that's where you can evoke passion and whatnot in yourself, doesn't mean you don't do the other loans. Like, you do everything, but you lead with that because, quite honestly, you can't be the master of all of it. So there's people that me and you both know, like, nobody knows VA loans better than Patton. Nobody understands the guidelines, how to talk to veteran, buyers. And you talk about passion, like, that fires me up just seeing how passionate he is about it. West Point grad, I'm helping my brothers and sisters who served get a home using this great VA loan. Can he do conventional? Of course. Does he have access to other products where, if somebody comes across and says, hey, I've got an FHA loan, I'm trying to do an FHA streamline? Of course he can. He's a high level loan officer, but leading with the niche not only helps you get in front of those people and serve more of them. I think that it helps develop relationships. Like, when I talk to realtors and they say something around like, you know what, Matt, it's a first time home buyer, they don't really understand. So you might have to meet them in person, or you might have to work with them and talk slow. I just tell them that's my jam. Like, that's what I do. I educate home buyers, and I've done it enough times, like enough reps to where I feel like I can explain it on a 5th grade level. My 5th grader will be able to understand what, quite honestly, is not super easy to understand material. Like the loan estimate, the closing disclosure, all the mortgage docs. Bless whoever created these. Like, they didn't create them in a way that it was supposed to be super user friendly. And so I guess realized real time right now as we're talking, like, yeah, I'm passionate about that. Passionate about helping first time home buyers.
You're welcome.
Understand. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for the coaching, Sean.
Yeah, I feel the same way about, and yeah, I don't even think we have to spend too much time talking about all of the different products there are out there. I mean, essentially, if there's a need, I mean, this is the great thing about America, is that if there's a need, right, there's going to be somebody that comes along that creates an opportunity or a product to fulfill that need. For me, like, I've always loved like the 203K loans, the FHA renovation loans. I think it is such an underused, especially right now. Like, if you live in your starter home and you want to, right? I bought my home for like $300 something thousand here in the suburbs of Atlanta, with a 2.25% interest rate. Legendary. And if I wanted to buy my house right now from me for what it's worth, I don't think I'd be able to afford it. It's just like, it's interest rates like tripled. The value's gone up a lot, which I'm really thankful for. But it's like, you couldn't really do it. Now, could I get an FHA or a Fannie Mae home style renovation loan and turn my starter home into a forever home for $150,000, like, which is less than my house, less than the difference between my house, what I bought it for, and what it's worth right now? Like, yeah, people should be doing that. I mean, you don't have to go visit other properties. Your choice right now is to either move further away and upgrade your house, or not upgrade your house and stay in the same location for most people's like affordability. So I feel the same way about the renovation loans. And when I put it to people like that, they're like, you're saying that I could stay right here, the place that I've built all these friendships, where my family started, where I've got community, where I go to church, where I'm near my work, and I could pop on a second story. I could add, a pergola outside with a wood burning, pizza oven. I actually not sure if that would be. I don't think that would be in the guidelines.
Yeah.
But like I could purpose build this to put in my home gym. And like, it's like, yeah, you can do that. People don't even know that. They think that like, I'll never have the house I want because I would have to move. And when I look at the houses I'd have to move into, I can't afford them. So I'm with you. It's all about passion. It just depends on like who you love serving. So if you're an agent or a loan officer, it's like, just take, think about like the times where you really come alive when you're explaining that to somebody.
Right.
If it's, there's so many good ones. I mean, if you look at investment niche loans, right? We've got the bank statement, you got DSCR, you've got asset depletion, you got, all sorts of crazy stuff. And if that's what makes you come alive, like, you need to lead with that when you talk to potential clients or potential referral partners.
Agree 100%. And the best. Gosh, I always butcher quotes, dude. I'm the worst at
Let's hear it. Oh no, it's even better when they're wrong.
Well, you are best qualified to lead the you of yesterday, something to that effect. Meaning, yeah, like
I like it. If you would have said that with more conviction, I would have believed you.
Okay, but basically, there's nobody more qualified to help the former Sean Grapevine than the current Sean Grapevine.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is, like, if you've been through something, you're the most qualified to help somebody who's going through that. I just saw a post, and this is an example of niche, and I think it's phenomenal. Somebody talking about how they went through a divorce and how tough it is, with the mortgage and real estate and navigating all that stuff. They enjoy helping other people go through it because they know.
I know whose post you're talking about. Yeah, it's super cool.
Been through it themselves, right? And so shout out Rebecca. Is Rebecca, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That you put that out there. You're vulnerable to say, hey, I've been through this and I know how hard it was, knowing what.
Oh no. Oh God.
I help you.
There we go. All right. You cut out for a second there, but you're back.
I know people are trying to call. This is the problem with connecting on your iPhone. Do not disturb mode now activated. But yeah, it's an example of a niche, and I think that it's phenomenal. When me and you talked just now, we realized where my niche was born. Like, I was the guy struggling to understand. It frustrated me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help others understand. So when they go through this, it's going to be easier for them.
I love it. I love that that's what you're passionate about. Well, we're almost out of time. We do have a question today, which I'm super excited about. Thank you, Greg. He says, do you think we could potentially see a revision to last week's Bureau of Labor Statistics jobs report that better lines up with the lower data from the ADP report? I mean, they do seem to have a habit of revising down the jobs numbers. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, and I'm not above a good conspiracy theory when it comes to, the powers that be, whenever there's anybody in any power that be. But yeah, I mean, we have seen a lot of revisions down. I'm not really sure the reason for that. I wouldn't really chalk it up to some sort of conspiracy theory, because if anything, it makes everybody look stupid when constantly revising them. And it makes it look like the system's not even working properly. But yeah, I would expect a slight lowering, or I wouldn't be surprised by one. I think, honestly, and Matt probably feels this way too after seeing enough of these reports, it's like traders are probably smart enough to know that it's like, well, if it's happened on 14 out of the last 14 of them.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, is that, while it's possible and probable that there's a revision, I wouldn't expect that revision to be anything that's market moving, because the market moves most when unexpected things happen. Oh, hey, we're revising this again for the 15th time in a row, down 22,000, whatever the number is. The market is going to say, okay, we guessed you probably would. And so with the potential revision coming in, I would say less important, less market moving than, what's said this week's Fed meeting,
or
CPI number.
Or if there's no revision. That would be the most surprising.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for hopping on. This has been quite enjoyable. I really, really enjoyed practicing my my Vin Scully. Do you know who that is?
No, I've heard the name, but
he was a solo announcer for the Dodgers for like 40 years. It was amazing. He'd call a game entirely by himself. Anyway, I enjoyed giving my best Vin Scully impression. Matt, it was great to have you on. Viewers, thank you for joining. Can't wait to see you next week. Next week's special edition, What the Fed, where we go over this week's Fed interest rate decision. Can't wait to see you there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, Maddie.
Later, brother.